Hey, this is Katie here, and today I'll be talking about the three biggest mistakes Atari has ever made. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a little while, and Atari is one of my favorite gaming companies ever, and I like the games they made, like Roller Coaster Typhoon, Centipede, Berserk. It became a household name in the 70s and in the early 80s. Without Atari, there'll be no video games today. They were the ones who invented Pong, for God's sakes. And I hope, and I hope people play their older stuff from like the late 70s, from the 70s to the 80s, because it started the whole video game industry. Without that, there'll be no video game industry. Let's get to it. Let's get to the first mistake, the 5200. The 5200 was the successor of the 2600. It came in 1982. And everyone thought that, I wasn't alive back in the day, so I know the history about the 5200 a lot. And if Atari, and the console was just too damn big, in my opinion, and the controls were terrible. The controllers were terrible because compared to the 2600, it was just horrible. It had the stupid fucking buttons. It had a weak joystick that was made by plastic. And it also had some really good games like Mario Bros. Port. Pac-Man was actually a really good port for the 5200. If you haven't played Pac-Man for the 5200, go right ahead and play it. It's online. And I think Berserk was on there too. It was an okay port. It's not nothing like the 2600 port. And there was actually a few really good ports for it, and it didn't sell well at all. The 5200, it flopped. 2 years later, it got discontinued, and the legacy will live on. Atari wants to forget about the 5200 because they wanted something better than the 2600, but they pushed it too fast, in my opinion, because Atari 2600 was riding high when the 5200 came out. And I think they should never made the 5200, in my personal opinion, because it was during the video game crash in 1983. It was during the video game crash, right before it, a year before it, and during the 5200's life cycle, it was during it. I thought it was never going to be a good console, in my personal opinion, if I was alive, because the 5200 just was just pushed too quick, in my personal opinion. And the 5200 needs, and Atari wants to forget about it from history, but it's in the history books, so you can't forget about it. The next big mistake, everyone knows what it is. The Atari Jaguar / Jaguar CD. The Atari Jaguar / Atari Jaguar was a console that came back in 1990. It said it was supposed to have 64 bits. 64-bit console for 1993? That was 3 years before the Nintendo 64. Come on, guys. You're trying to future-proof your console, and it was actually pretty cheap back in the day. $250 for that console. 64-bit console, $250? Hell yeah. There was only one problem. It was 32-bit. It had a 32-bit processor. It's something, I don't know what the whole story was about it. I'm not that good with telling stories with you guys like that. Like, it was something to do with the console itself. It's actually 32-bit. But still, a, 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 a leap in technology back in the day from 16-bit, from the Genesis and Super Nintendo to 32-bit. How can this console not do that well? Well, it didn't. It fucking failed, alright. Yep, it did. It was Atari's last Hail Mary, and it got tossed down like a defender during a Hail Mary that swatted the ball. And it was not a good idea. They released 50 games for the Atari Jaguar total. 50. That's it. It could have been a really good console if they had more third-party developers like DMA Design, Bethesda didn't exist back then, Capcom, Konami. If they couldn't get the Japanese developers, and if they couldn't get this one thing, which is the permission to get any game that was released for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo back in the day. Imagine a game like Sunset Riders on the Atari Jaguar. Oh my god. Mega Man. Oh my god. Castlevania 4. Super Castlevania 4. If they couldn't have done what I said they couldn't have done, the Atari Jaguar would have been a lot more successful. But no, it wasn't successful at all, in my opinion. It didn't even sell 250,000 units. It was way off that. It sold 125,000 units. It sucked. It couldn't have potential. And the Jaguar CD was even worse, way worse. That only had like 14 games for it, I think. A CD console add-on for the Jaguar. Atari, get your shit together, man. And after that, they left the gaming business for good. As we hoped, as we thought. As long as we thought. Until 2021. With the Atari VCS. That's the number 3 Atari failure. The VCS. It was supposed to be a piece. I don't know what it was supposed to be, in my opinion. It was supposed to be a computer, play Atari games, and surf the internet. If you're making a computer, make it a gaming PC. Atari. Work with the video, AMD or some shit. My god, Atari. This video could have been 5 mistakes of Atari, but instead I want to do 3 because I want this to be a shorter video. And Atari VCS was a failure. IGN gave it a 5 out of 10. It played Atari games and you could surf the web. And you had these wireless controls, which are pretty cool, by the way. If you hadn't seen them, go and look at them. They're pretty cool. The VCS is a disaster of a PC. Whatever you want to call it. PC, console, I don't freaking know what it is, actually. It was never going to be successful like the Jaguar. At least the Jaguar had potential. At least this thing didn't. And I hope Atari learns from their mistakes and focuses on consoles like the 2600 Plus and the 7800 Plus. And someday they might make a 5200 plus, I hope, or something like that. 5200 plus, Jaguar plus. I don't know what console they're gonna make next after 7800 plus. Who knows? I ordered my Atari watch yesterday. If you guys haven't seen, it's probably gonna come in like June or some shit, which I'm hyped about. It plays Atari games on my watch. It's a smartwatch if you don't know what it is. And Atari is looking good these days. After 2021, they released 2 consoles, 2600 plus, 7800 plus, which are pretty good ideas. And they released coffee. What the hell, coffee? On their website, which I want to try someday. They released that watch for pre-order yesterday. And I hope Atari makes some really good games in the future for Steam, Xbox, Nintendo, all that crap. If you like this video, leave a comment down below and say what is your favorite thing about Atari, and what are the top 3 failures that Atari has ever made in your personal opinion. And I am out.